Good morning and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 4th of October. It is Saturday. We do have 4 game ones of the division series ahead of us today. No weather issues. Really just one game's outside technically, so we shouldn't be too bad in that area. But this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate. And I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, you can probably cut the pool down a little bit. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. You can get the stacks you want just based on their pricing. So, yeah, it's tough, right? Like a 4-gamer. It is game 1 of a 5-game series. Backs aren't as up against the wall. We're not, I shouldn't say it, we're not going to. We certainly could see starting pitchers get yanked in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th inning. I don't envision that being the case to a degree. The Cubs having Counsell as their manager means like Boyd can get yanked at any minute. And he did just pitch 4 days ago. So he is coming in on shorter rest than normal, but he also only threw 58 pitches. And in that one, they pulled him after 4 1/3. So he's the one that I question going deep enough. Overall, it's not a terrible matchup. He hasn't been very good against Milwaukee. So that part is terrible. From a pitch profile standpoint, I was looking at it late last night, early this morning. And he actually lines up decently. It's just the results haven't shown it. I did pick up a win in one of his 2 starts, but it wasn't a pretty one. So, based on, I guess, previous history, who his manager is, the fact that he's pitching on 3 days rest, it's probably a decent spot to just not consider Matthew Boyd at all. I think that kind of fits fine into this particular slate. The one issue is obviously we're fading Troy Melton if he's just going to open. Probably not all that interested in Montero. I mean, there are strikeouts in the Seattle lineup, but he's just not a big K guy anyways. So, do we want to go there? I don't think we do. One appearance against Seattle, not the greatest. It's probably not a spot. So, we're already eliminating pitchers. We're down to 6 guys, and then, what do we do from there? Milwaukee, Freddie Peralta, fully rested, and then some, I think. An extra day of rest coming in, so, plus he only threw 44 pitches in his final outing, so the Cubs offense did not look all that strong against the Padres in the wild card series. Sure, they do have some guys that can hit home runs, but there are strikeouts. Freddie Peralta at home is a real thing. The ballpark's going to be electric in Milwaukee. I can guarantee that. I am using Freddie Peralta as one of my highest owned. I really think it's going to be he and George Kirby are my 2 highest on this slate. New York and Toronto, these teams obviously very familiar with each other, same division. Luis Hill was solid against Toronto the one time he faced them, minus the far more walks than strikeouts thing. But the walks thing has been a real thing for him basically since his return from the IL. A White Sox one, 7 Ks, 2 walks. That's probably a pretty strong 7 Ks, 1 walk here. But the other ones, you have walks basically equaling strikeouts or even beating them in a lot of starts. I don't really love that idea. Obviously in a postseason matchup, could shorten the leash for Luis Hill. Problem is the Yankees bullpen's atrocious. Now they could deploy, somebody like Will Warren as a piggyback if Luis Hill is struggling with control, in the second, third inning. Will Warren could be somebody that sees 4 innings or so. But just from what we know for sure, like Luis Hill not striking many people out, walking too many. Toronto just doesn't strike out all that much. So is it really a beneficial spot to trust Luis Hill? I'm not sure that it is. So right now I'm going to act as if I'm just not going to use him. I might end up with him back in the pool, but for now, I think I can eliminate Luis Hill and mainly focus on, these top 5 options on this particular slate. We don't have the 10 to 11K price pitchers at the top. So at 8,700 at the top, we're pretty decent. So we shouldn't be needing a lot of salary savings from the pitcher position. In this scenario, if you nail the 2 guys that absolutely crush, well, the rest of the pitching options only go 3-4 innings because managers are so quick to go to the bullpen in the postseason. Now you've put yourself in a pretty leg up situation. You nailed the Cam Schlitlers, who just went out and absolutely dominated and separated completely from every pitcher on that slate, basically. You get that right, like, you're just in such an advantageous spot. So for me, that's why I really want to focus on these main 5 pitchers on this slate and hope I get the right combination. Kevin Gausman kind of finished the season a bit rough. Couple of rough starts in a row. Strikeouts were fine. 12 in 9 1/3, so they were there. Definitely interested in him. His last start against the Yankees, 27 DK points. Strikeouts weren't there in that particular one. But 30 fantasy points here. Strikeouts were there. Just 7 in this one. More walks than strikeouts. He wasn't atrocious from a real life pitching standpoint, aside from the walks. That big negative, I remember watching this game. He got squeezed a lot by the umpire. He got tossed as he was pulled from the game. 5 walks is a pretty extreme number for Gausman. Does have double-digit strikeout upside. He's only done it twice this season, but there is upside for him. The Yankees do have plenty of strikeouts in the lineup, but they also have plenty of power. His overall home numbers not as strong as road numbers, even though his K rate is much stronger. He gives up a lot more home runs, twice as many to be exact. So, Gausman, a volatile option, but somebody who has the ceiling and I believe has the type of leash we're looking for in a postseason slate. Phillies and Dodgers, Christopher Sanchez getting the start. Elite season for Sanchez. One of my favorite pitchers in baseball overall. 23 plus fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 starts. 6 out of his last 8, 7 out of his last 9. Like, he's just been super consistent. I think 8 out of 10 even. 2 starts against the Dodgers, averaged 16.8. That means he put up 18 and 15.6. Couple home runs. That's obviously the worry. The Dodgers definitely have enough power, especially against some left-handed pitching, that it is a little dangerous. But as I try to stroll here to find the second start against them, I feel like I'm blind here, but oh, it's right here. No, that's the last one. So, I mean, I love Sanchez. I'm going to use him. You know, there still are strikeouts in their lineup. Must have been early in the season, but he did give up 2 home runs in each start against them, though. But the strikeouts have been there, like I mentioned, 15 of them. So if he finds a way to keep the ball in the yard, there's plenty of upside. And I do think he's earned enough to be given a leash. You know, most managers do not want to blow their bullpen in game 1 of the series. It is 5 games, so really, you know, you don't want to lose a game for sure, but game 1, you just do not want to all of a sudden have to rely on your bullpen for 6-7 innings. So I think he's probably decent enough pitching at home, where he's been absolutely phenomenal this season. So I think Sanchez is completely fine. It's a volatile spot for sure, but somebody I'm going to. Shohei doesn't have his pitching stats up here, so that's fun. But lengthened out to 6 innings. Plenty of upside in his ability. I'm not sure if, you know, how much he's faced the Phillies from a pitching standpoint. So I'll have to dig into that a little bit. But, you know, lengthened out to 6 innings can be electric. I'm going to get there for Shohei. The bottom half of the Phillies lineup can definitely be super weak. You know, if he finds a way to, I guess, not give up a first inning home run to Schwarber or Bryce Harper, like there's a route for him to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. You know, I think probably behind George Kirby, maybe Freddie Peralta, but you know, I think Ohtani can get there, especially now because he's basically lengthened out to 6 innings. So that's what I would kind of expect out of him. Maybe 5 is the goal. I'm not sure. We never really know what Dave Roberts is going to do, but I think Shohei for 5 on this particular slate has a fairly decent chance, you know, of ending up a top 2 pitcher. Getting to this last game, I already talked about Detroit side. Like, I'm just not going to be interested in the opener long reliever. Plus, Hinch has shown that he's just willing to drain the bullpen and trust in his bullpen arms. On the other side, we get George Kirby. Finished the season super strong with 3 straight starts. Double-digit strikeouts in 2 of the 3. Has not pitched since the 26th in a game. Obviously, he definitely threw some bullpens over the week. A lot of these teams did some inter-squad scrimmages, etc. So I'm sure he saw plenty of exposure to bats and all of that. It's the K upside, and Detroit just can strike out a bunch. And not really sure how much they managed to strike out in the series against Cleveland. But, you know, we know that strikeouts are amplified in the postseason. Against Cleveland, they did strike out 33 times in the 3 games. So 11 Ks per game. It's a pretty big jump considering in the regular season, Colorado and LA were like 9.7 or so per game. So as you can see, the postseason amplifies it. And I think Kirby's just in a phenomenal spot. His one start against Detroit wasn't the best, but he's been at his best at home. It's where he's at today. That ballpark's going to be rocking. I think it's a great spot for pure upside from George Kirby, and he would be my bet on who finishes this slate with the highest point total. So, but there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop a link in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I will drop the link to our merch store. You can check out the different designs, my design as well. Hit the comments, let me know what you're looking at for this slate, and as always, best of luck, everybody.